Hi, everybody. My name is Jimmy Knight. I'm the director of the Cawthron Center at Mars Hill University, and I'm joined this evening by Beck Schildt of Lincolnton, North Carolina, living toward the Charlotte area, if you will, and working in Lincolnton. And just wanted to introduce you to her and let you hear her story about how she found her first job. So, Jessie, if you will tell us real quick, where are you working, and tell us about the company and some things about the job, what a typical day is like, and we'll go into how you found it in just a second. So how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So yeah, tell us about this place that you're working.
Okay, so I work at Active Concepts, and that it's in Lincolnton, North Carolina. So I commute there, but it's about an hour away from Charlotte, and we have a couple locations in Italy, and well, one location in Italy and one location in Taiwan, and a couple sister companies too. And we manufacture raw cosmetic ingredients, which for people who don't know what that is, we make the ingredients that go into shampoos and lotions, any cosmetics, anything you can really think of, whatever you put on your face, we make those.
That's great. Very fascinating how I remember when you first found out about the job opening and everything. Could you tell us a little bit about the typical day for you, what that's like right now?
Yeah, so I'm an R&D scientist, so I do a lot of research and development, and basically my day I kind of set my own day. So some days I'll be doing a lot of research, some days I'll be really working on a formula, but in general, I will be working on some, look for some new and innovative from whatever market. We look at textiles, we look at pharmaceuticals, we look at cosmeceuticals, nutrition, all kind of different areas, and kind of see what we can do to make a difference in the cosmetics and personal care industry. And then from there, I'll find a new idea and kind of develop how I want to make it work and what it does, and like the testing and so on from there. And some days I'll do testing. So I don't do in vivo or in vitro, but I do anything else. So I've done hair testing, I've done pigment testing, I've done a lot of different things. It really depends on what I'm working on. So I'll do testing for my products. And then I'll also work on customer products. So we have a lot of customers that want specific kind of products. Really, whatever they want, it'll be like a function or certain ingredients. It's really up to them, and it's our job to kind of come up with that and develop that and get that to them.
That's pretty interesting. Um, so what seems to be the best thing that you like about your job so far?
Right now, well, so far, my favorite thing is really like the feel of the company. It's really familial. It's a smaller company, so we have the opportunity to be like, they come through the office regularly, so I say hi to everybody, and then and we know like our main managers and so on and so on, and we have big like company events, like we do baby showers, we do wedding showers for everybody, and it's a good feel about it. We're not just going towards like making our stock prices rise and things like that. It's yeah, familiar.
Cool. That's always good to hear because not every place has um, a good working environment or some kind of a family-centered environment. It's always a good thing to look for that kind of a situation as you're going through interviews or as you're researching a company. Now, like I said, I remember when you first started talking about this particular job and how you were planning to pursue it. How did you learn about it, and how did you apply?
So one of my friends in college, I knew his family did something in biotech. I did not know what, but I knew it was something. And when I was looking for jobs, I remembered that, and I've kind of like, I did my research, and I found them on LinkedIn. And then from there, I kind of like kept an eye on it as I was applying, going through the job applying process. And eventually a job opened, and I applied via LinkedIn. So yeah.
That's pretty good because you know, you sometimes hear people say, "Oh, don't even bother trying to apply for anything over LinkedIn. There's no way that you're ever going to break through the clutter or anything else along those lines." So I was really glad to hear that that led to something. Tell us about the interview. What kind of opportunities or what doors opened to make the interview a possibility in terms of timing? You know, how did you prepare for your interviews, and what was it? What was it like? What kind of setup did you encounter when you went in?
Okay, so I'll break this apart. So the interview itself was really simple. I pretty much they contacted me. I think I followed up one more time after I sent in my application, and then they contacted me and said, like, we set up a time to meet, and then from there I went in. They asked it wasn't anything really hard. They asked about like what kind of salary I wanted, and like they actually asked what I like to do on the weekend, like what do I like to do for fun, which I was not prepared for that question, but you know, for that kind of company, that's something that they really care about and making sure everybody fits in. But and then they took me on a tour of the facilities, and that was it for that. But so how, next question, how did I prepare for the interview? So what I did was I looked up science related interview questions, just Googled it, and then tried to come up with really set answers, something that I would remember easily off the top of my head in like a high pressure situation. And then I also looked up general interview questions because I'm not particularly good at, like, off the top of my head coming up with like sentences. So I like prepped for all of that, and then I kind of weird, but like I realized that people kind of ask you like, hey, what kind of salary are you looking for? It's such an awkward question, but so I like researched into like average salaries that is in like the technician field, because at that point I was applying to be a technician. And last thing, I also recapped on my technical skills. So like step-by-step process of whatever technical skills I had put in my resume to like make sure I could like refresh on them so I could show like I had these skills basically.
No, it sounds like you did everything precisely as you should, which is how you got the job. Researching the salary, I mean, you would be surprised at how many people skip that step. Some people don't want to talk about it, but the idea of not researching it, I can guarantee you that having made that mistake myself, I can tell you that you leave a lot of money on the table when you do that. So you know, congrats on doing everything exactly the way that you should. Just to wrap things up a little bit, thinking back on your time at Mars Hill, what event, experience, or class helped you the most in getting ready for the world of work?
So for me, it was actually a couple of things that really helped me. It was definitely classes. I know like in the chemistry, the chemistry department, they're really good about making sure you know how to do like a science resume and a CV and things like that, and really helped you out in that aspect. And they really like made sure that you had the basis for what you needed to know, like the basics, all these reactions and what you actually do in person. And that's really important in my field. But let's see, and also, well, DZ helped a ton because small talk is, you have to know how to do small talk in an interview. Like it really helped me because it's really awkward if you don't have any small talk skills and you're just like awkwardly sitting there and you're like, all right, well, what do I say now? But that really, it helps a lot. And also like when you're just starting, you don't know anybody, you're trying to figure things out. Like usually, well, for me, it was a completely new area. I'd never been there ever. So it was nice to kind of like get to know my coworkers that way. A little awkward, but you have to like skip past the awkwardness. And then also you helped me a ton. I mean, at that point you were my phone-a-thon boss, and unfortunately you don't always get the skills you need to in certain like majors to get what you need to do your to do like the basics, but like I didn't really have very much experience in how to write a cover letter or like when to follow up with people. Like that's kind of like you very precise stuff, and you kind of helped me figure that out, and I talked to you about my career issues and stuff like that, and so yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that I helped in something.
You were like my job mentor. It was great.
I appreciate it. I really do. And in fact, helping you and some of the other Phonathon people really is what got me interested in taking on this role at Mars Hill. And so you guys were yet again another life-changing element for me in more ways than one. So we'll wrap up here. I just was wondering if you had any advice that you would give your fellow Mars Hillians who are about to leave school, and especially leave school in a weird situation like this with the disruption of a big outbreak and lockdowns and everything else like that. Do you have any advice for anyone who might be listening that you could find that might be inspirational for them?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is that like it's really upsetting to not hear back quickly from places that you're applying to, and like you kind of lose hope, because I applied to a ton of places, and it's important that you keep applying and just keep going until finally like you're gonna finally get that job. And you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Like you have to do a ton of places and just keep going down that path. And I would also say prep before the interview, because you do not want to go into that interview and look unprepared. And it's not great on you. I mean, it's a learning experience. That's important. But like if you can just skip the learning experience, it's usually a lot better.
Well, I can't thank you enough for spending some time and talking to me about your adventure. And congratulations again. We're going to be doing a lot of these talks with people who have graduated recently within the last 2 or 3 years, and just sort of tracking people down and hearing their stories. So thank you, Jessie. I appreciate it. And so have a good evening.
You too.